I'm absolutely chuffed that you have tuned into Real Women's Stories, and especially this particular series, because in this series, we are featuring Mel Robbins's acclaimed Let Them theory, because Mel she did something to me when I bought her book and when I read her book. And I wanted to share all my learnings, my experiences that I've had from reading her book and through my coaching practice, how it has changed my clients' lives. And I do mean that because we can use the let them theory in our everyday lives. In this episode, I would like to concentrate on the let me part, not the let them, but the let me, because it's quite easy to say let them, right? And funny enough, I was speaking to my husband today and I said to him, do you know what the let them theory is about? And he was like, yeah, I think so. It's just letting people, think what they want and me just allowing that to happen. And I was like, no, but that's where you're wrong, because the let them theory is in two parts. Yes, part of it is sort of allowing people to behave how they want and react how they want towards you. But the second part, which is probably the most powerful part, is let me. It's how do we think about the situation? Because if we just allow people to behave the way that they do, that still leaves us feeling very vulnerable and quite sore, I would imagine. And it did me for a long time. So I would like to give you some examples, because it's all well-being that we have a book. It's all well-being that we discuss elements of the book and the let them theory. But I think it's really important that we refer it back into our everyday life. And, there were some reflective questions that I asked you in the previous episodes around the let them theory. And I hope that you have asked yourself those questions, because I've been delving into those questions myself. And I've been asking other people about the theory and about how they've been using it in their lives. I'm going to give you an example. So, and this is just off the top of my head. So today, I have been working really hard. It's the weekend. I'm also studying at the moment for a diploma. So I'm having to work a few extra hours. And, weekend times are usually to spend with your family. So I said to my husband, let's have some breakfast together. And he was like, yeah, okay, that would be really nice. Because then I felt that I was kind of, bringing him into my weekend, and it wasn't just about me studying and shutting myself off and working. And we were going to make boiled eggs on toast. And I said to him, would you like the eggs soft or hard? And he said, I'd like them soft. So I said, okay, fine. So anyway, I put the eggs on to boil. And when the alarm went off, I said, oh no, leave them on for a bit longer, because they were only just boiling for like 3 minutes. They needed a bit longer. And he was like, well, no, I think we need to take them out now. He then sort of allowed me to carry on making these eggs. Anyway, when it came to eating the eggs, they weren't soft and gooey the way he would like them. And I instantly was like, oh my God, that's my fault. Now I've ruined his breakfast. And I was looking at his reactions and his behavior, and I suddenly thought, I've just ruined this breakfast for him. This was a time that was meant to be spent for us. And because I didn't listen to what he had said, and I just kind of carried on cooking these eggs, I've now ruined this breakfast. And I didn't leave it there, you see. I felt so guilty. I almost turned it back on him, and I was like, you're acting really weird towards me. I've really upset you now. I've ruined your breakfast, haven't I? And he was like, no, it's fine. It's really not a problem. So I was the one who was reacting in a particular way because I thought he was upset that I'd ruined this breakfast, this special time that we were going to have together. But the reality was he wasn't at all. So had I really taken control of myself and my own emotions and not reflected that back onto him, we probably would have enjoyed our breakfast more. But I made a complete issue out of the whole situation. I'm not sure if any of you have been through that. So just to kind of rounded off. So because I thought I had ruined this breakfast, and because I was looking at his reactions, I then created more of a situation. Whereas had I just let him carry on, he was absolutely fine, wasn't he? And then if I'd let me go, okay, well, I haven't made the eggs the way that he wanted to, but it's absolutely fine. I'm going to enjoy my breakfast. But I didn't. I made a complete issue out of it. You see, that's how the let them theory works. I should have looked at the situation completely differently and gone, oh well, I ruined the eggs, it's not a massive thing, but let's enjoy our breakfast together because this is our time together. Again, I think it's really important that we've got the theory, but let's talk about putting it into practice. So I asked one of my clients if she could give me a situation that she'd been in, and we'd kind of worked through it together. So she is in a situation where she is divorced from her husband, and she kind of carries a lot of the weight and lot of the monetary side of things. And she houses the kids. He doesn't really contribute that much. And she really works hard in her life to bring up these children financially. She supports them. So for her, it's a really big thing. So her 17-year-old was having his driving test, going to pass his driving test, and they wanted to buy him a car. Now, because she's been contributing to the children and been putting so much of her finances into the children, she didn't have the capacity to buy her child a car, her son a car. So her ex-husband said to her, listen, don't worry, I will buy him the car. Now, she felt really rubbish about the situation because she knew what was going to happen. What was going to happen was he was going to be the big hero buying his son the car, and she was going to have to step back and let him take the glory. So we kind of discussed how she was going to deal with that. And what we talked about was, what if she knows that she's a good mum? She knows that she contributes to her children's welfare, to their upbringing. And she knows that in reality, and probably so do the children, that her ex-husband doesn't contribute as much. But wouldn't it be great if she allowed him to have this moment with his son, and his son could feel grateful for the financial contribution that he was making to him buying him a car? And she could sit back and allow that to happen and allow the two of them to have their moment. So she was allowing them to let them have their moment. And then how was she going to let me? So she stepped back, she allowed it to play, and she thought about all the good stuff that she had done for her kids. And she was acknowledging herself. Inside, she knew in reality what a good mum she was. And then the moment played out, everyone was happy, and she didn't react how she normally would have reacted, which would have been to have interrupted and kind of said, well, I know your dad's buying this car, but you know what I do for you. That would have taken away the real special moment from her son and his dad. So she let me be the bigger person. She became the bigger person in the situation and allowed them to have their moment. And you know what? When we reflected on how she felt proud because she was the bigger person. She sat there, she took a deep breath, she knew how she should behave. It was her responsibility and accountability to be as good as mum as she could possibly be. And she let them have their moment, and she let me sit there feeling proud of all the things she's done. And this moment, she didn't ruin it. She enabled other people to have that space and have that moment without making a comment that she normally would have done. And their relationship, the day was lovely, and her son just is delighted. And really inside she thought, that's all I want. I just want my son to be happy. So I'm allowing myself to be the bigger person, to step away, and I'm proud of myself because I was the adult person in this. And now she's learned something, that she can take accountability and take control back of the way that she behaves in those conflicting situations. So there you see, that's just another example of how someone has used the let them theory. And again, reflect, is there a time where you have been in a similar situation? Do you have an ex-husband where you do feel you carry the load? And there's often situations where your kids might come home and tell you how amazing they've had a great time with their dad's new partner, and you kind of feel like you get the raw end of the deal. What if you let me? What if you allowed your children to have that space, to have that enjoyment, to feel fulfilled within their relationship with their dad, and then you let me sit there and take control back and not interfere in that, because it just creates a much more positive relationship and environment for not only you, but for your kids too, and your ex-partner. So I'm hoping that kind of resonates with you, you connect with that. If you are listening to this for the first time and you're not sure what Real Women's Stories is about, why not hit the follow button? Why not follow this podcast? Why not give it another go and go back and listen to some of the episodes? And for anyone who is a regular listener, I just want to say thank you so much, because you guys are the reason why I do it. That's why I'm dressed up, glammed up to go out for dinner, but I'm taking the time to speak from my heart and deliver this episode for you so that my producer can edit it in time. Thank you, Aaron, for this week, for it to go out, because it, as I said, it is important to me. I'm passionate about what I do. So your support is hugely important to me. So here's the thing. I'm going to throw this out to you guys. Is there a situation that you're struggling with where you would like to try and use the let them theory? Because I want to make this real. I know the let them theory is a book. Let's try and lift those words. Let's try and lift this theory off the page. So I'm asking you to write into me. Tell me a situation that you are going through and let me talk about this situation on the next episode. You don't have to leave your name. You don't have to leave any details. If you do, that's great. But if you could just give me some scenarios that I can talk around so we can work out together how to use the let them theory. Because although it seems quite simple, we still really have to sort of think about how we use it in our everyday life, and I'm speaking to so many people about it. Like I said, I'm talking to my husband about it. We're reflecting on situations that are happening in our relationship, in our life, where he can use it and where I can use it, because I really do feel that it works. And it's bringing me closer together. So if you are enjoying the let them theory, and if you know Mel Robbins, or if you've heard of her, because some people haven't, but those of you who have, and those of you who haven't, you might be interested in this competition that I'm running. If you've never experienced coaching before, it is honestly a game changer. It's life changing. It has changed my life. And as a coach, I get coached. And when my coaching journey started, my whole world, my relationships changed for the better. And I'm doing this podcast because of the changes I've made. So this competition is for anyone listening, or if you want to share this episode with people and share the competition details, this is what the competition is. You can win a whole day of one-to-one coaching with me on Sunday, June the 8th. Now, why Sunday, June the 8th? Because Mel Robbins, who is the author of the Let Them Theory book, has got one tour day in the UK. And I have got some tickets. So one of the tickets is for me, and one of the tickets is for whoever wins the prize to have a one-to-one day coaching with me. We will have a fabulous lunch. We will have an amazing day, uncovering lots of different things, working through some changes, having some real light bulb experience. And we're going to go and watch Mel Robbins live in London. And we're not only going to watch her, we're going to meet her. And boy, have I got some questions to ask her. So if anyone would like to join me, if you've never experienced coaching before, if you'd love to know what it's about, if you know anyone who you think coaching could be for, then enter the competition. All you need to do is go to my website, www.realwomen.coach. That's www.realwomen.coach. There will be a pop-up box that will appear after a few seconds. You just fill out your details. It's absolutely free. It's not going to cost you anything, but you are going to gain everything from that day if you win. So the competition is running up until June the 1st, midnight June the 1st. We will close the competition and we will announce the lucky winner on June the 2nd. So if you want to win that competition, then go visit my website.